Created live on Fireside.
Welcome to Where's the Beef? I am your host, Wendy Cooper, and this is where we open up that can of whoop-ass, yes, called Tech versus Creative. Advertising, marketing, technology, and culture. This is a conversation that needs to be had. Welcome to the edited edition of the original episode that you can listen to in its entirety on firesidechat.com/Wendy Cooper. That's right. The entire 1 hour and 23 minutes of Annika, Kielland, and myself. First, let me tell you a little bit about why I'm doing this show. I come from the infomercial world for 25 years, D2C. I grew up in it. I made a lot of people a lot of money. I was involved in many subscription model programs, the development of best practices, and the business model that was always run was on a 90% failure rate. 1 in 30 worked. Let's find that one unicorn and spend as little money as we possibly can and grow it as intelligently as we can. Well, when I realized that the startup culture was exactly the same business model, 90% failure rate, test, tweak, fail, 1 in 30 works, 1 in 30 becomes a unicorn, makes up for all the other ones, I started to think, well, I need to draw these parallels. I need to bring the wisdom, the creativity of what we learned for the past 30 years in D2C and also find out, where's the beef, man? What's the problem between tech, creative, and millions of dollars that are put into these startups before they even know where they're going to get their first dollar? It is so similar and so different that I think if we meet in the middle, it could be really a beautiful thing. And that is what this show is about. My guest in this episode is the lovely and wonderful Annika Kielland. You can find her at Annika Kielland on YouTube, where you'll be able to enjoy yoga with her. She just finished a trip across the United States. Well, didn't finish it. She came from Florida all the way across. Took her about 4 to 6 months with her 2 dogs, Bodie and Blue. And she's now here in my house, although this is a pickup because this is the edited edition of the original episode, which you can find on Fireside Chat. Did I already say that? firesidechat.com/Wendy Cooper, Wendy with an I, because that's me. I'm Wendy Cooper. Without further ado, we're going to jump into this show. Annika Kielland she's an HSN host, a Reiki healer, a yoga teacher. She's an infomercial producer. We've known each other for about 20 years, and she's just a rock star. So she's here tonight because she's in the other bedroom, and I just thought this would be a great show to talk about the similarities of startups today in tech and the infomercial world. And we kind of have a good laugh about it. Here we go. So, Annika, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for a nice, comfortable bed, Wendy. It's been 4.5 months in the back of a bloody van, but it's a nice posh van with a shower and a toilet, so we can't complain. But yeah, just another latest adventure.
So, what is life without adventures, Annika?
I think I just needed some solitary time in the wilderness, in some parks to release my brain from all the world of infomercials, all those years producing infomercials. Wendy, I mean, you know how crazy our industry was. But yeah, hi everybody, and thanks for listening and tuning in. I've known Wendy over about 21 years, and I met her in the infomercial industry. She was really massive mentor for me. Wendy was sharp. She was on camera. She was a spokesperson, a brilliant producer, and she kind of was a one-man show, which I loved because she was a very strong woman in the field. I started in the industry in my late 20s, and just entered into this crazy direct marketing world I had a fitness background, so I primarily focused on fitness, but Wendy was very much somebody I admired and looked up to in the industry just because she got shit done. She did so. She took no prisoners, and she had a wry wit and a sense of humor. She just took no prisoners, and that was my kind of woman. So that's why we became friends, and I sought advice from her over the years. And now Wendy and I are working on health and wellness content now. So we're switching up. I'm switching up my world from fitness products and infomercials into the health and wellness field, and but still product based. So I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, Wendy. That's my problem, and I'm not growing up.
I think you want to be me.
Exactly. Well, it's not a bloody bad thing to be. All right, feisty and successful. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll sign up for that rubbish. I've just got to you've just got to agree to do some yoga with me. That's all.
I know.
All right?
I know.
I got to calm you down.
So what I love, so last night, Annika and we haven't seen each other for about a year and a half, and we were talking, and I said, Annika, did you know, I was telling her about this show, and I said, did you know that 90% of tech startups fail? And so I started to explain that. I said, it sounds so familiar, doesn't it? It's like 1 in 30. Let's see, if we just find one that works, it's going to make up for everything else.
Yeah.
And it's exactly. Right?
Yeah.
Now, will those words please come out of your mouth instead of
well, I used to say it less eloquently. I'd say we'd throw a pile of crap against the wall and one would stick, right? We'd throw like 30 products against the wall and the money would be put into it. The effort will be put into it, but it wasn't a bad thing when they failed. It's just like, okay, that one didn't work, but let's throw this one. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. Boom. And then one hits. And that one hit wipes out all the transgressions of all the others not working. But that was the model, both in short form and long form. So pumping a lot of money, the approach would be, I would go up on a fitness product, for example. I would go up to New Jersey to some of the biggest manufacturing marketing companies, and they would show me maybe 12 products in the room in one meeting. And they go, this is good. And I go, no, you're actually doing the exercise wrong and it's crap. But they're like, well, no, we want to make a show. We want to try it. This one, what about this one? And I would like maybe one or two. And they would ask they wanted to make shows for all of these products. They had manufacturing already. And I would jump in and start getting the tests organized. We would shoot all the stills for the packaging. We would really, you just start full on production of these 12 products, no matter how useless I thought some of them were. But they didn't care because that's the mentality. Just bang out a ton of projects, especially short forms, doesn't matter. Just test and put the money in, and then one hits, and that's all they need, and then they're happy.
So right, but here's the kicker, is what I was saying last night, is that we did that, and I could go a little more in depth. It's Annika is. Making it was exactly like that for Annika. I was kind of on the other side of the spectrum where I wanted to protect all those inventors and all those people with products. And so that was what my agency was really about. And then also managing the campaign so that, for instance, let's say someone comes along and they have a product and there's the 30. Okay, here's the 30 products. We're going to license those products from the people who brought them in because these are finished products that are ready to go and we can test, right?
Yes.
And CPG products, fast moving consumer goods, usually choppers and, things that make your life easier, better and quicker. I got to have it. Right? I got to have it. How much does it cost and how fast can I get it? That's our motto. But at the same time, these tests that occurred were not expensive tests. And so everything done in infomercials and in short form are always remnant media, very cheap media. So the difference between the tech startup mentality of fail fast, 90% can fail, let's, throw money at it. Why I have a problem with it is because we always did this on extremely small budgets.
Really?
Because the money was where? Where did we get our money? Right?
All in the back end, right?
All
So
in
that
the
what we did, and we understood. There was an understanding, a mutual understanding that we'll do it as tightly budgeted as possible. Even budgeting in the test, a really low test. But we knew that if once we get a hit, then we make a lot of money, then we make it back.
Right.
So it was like our whole bloody year is at risk, right? So we had to.
Well, yeah, it's extremely analytical. There's a lot of metrics involved. So, a lot of metrics involved. So, like, you could literally test with $6,000. You could do. You want me to tell you a case study with the Side Sleeper Pro pillow?
Yeah.
So, Side Sleeper Pro pillow, you can see it on my website at the letter cspot.run.com. This pillow, it's not a My Pillow guy, okay? This pillow was, it made, I think it grossed over, licensed it, but okay. So the guy comes to me that has the rights from the doctor who has the pillow. Okay. And he says, Wendy, I really want to work with you, but I only will have $10,000 to produce a short form. No, to produce, oh my God, a 15-minute for international.
Oh gosh.
Okay. And I thought, he goes, but I'll give you a really nice back end. And I thought, okay, I really want to work with you too. I can't mention who it is. So let's do that. That'll be our first project together. I had $10,000. I put the crew together. I tore apart not this home that you see, but another home up the street. And the entire commercial was shot in one day from 7 a.m. thanks to Greg Kendricks, an amazing DP and his crew, and my creativity actually, and how to stage a home and tear it apart. So every testimonial, Annika had like a different background, right?
Brilliant. Excellent.
And my bedroom, we had like a small jib arm in the bedroom, but my bed was like, people usually sleep with covers, but if you look at this commercial, they never have covers.
They never covers. And they're fully dressed in sexy negligees. Now, silk matching the product.
So here's what happens. So of course I do a rough cut. I kill myself. I do a rough cut, but I got a nice back end and I believe in myself, right? And I send the 14-minute rough cut off to them because we're not going to be doing this domestically. We're going to only be doing it internationally. The infomercial world is a bit confusing, you guys. So we're going to launch it internationally. He never gets back to me. He never effing gets back to me. And so a few months later, now this is somebody, I have a back end in this. I got skin in the game. And so I said, Mr. Smith, what's going on? And he said, well, we put our own footage in and we wanted, people said, well, we have to have a snorer. And I'm going, oh my God. So I said, send, he goes, and it just never worked. And that was in I don't know where they tested it. Okay. So he sends it to me, Annika, and it's horrible. It's like my beautiful footage mixed with their crap footage, like, in the dark hotel room with somebody.
Right. I think that was my ex-boyfriend.
It's my husband. No,
I won't name him.
Okay, so I said, well, no wonder, it's a piece of shit. And so I said, look, I can tell you exactly where I was when I said this to this person. I was driving right here by the airport going over to Playa Vista. And I said, let me do it. Just let me do a director's cut, a 2-minute director's cut, and you can test that. If it works, pay me $2,500. If it doesn't work, don't pay me anything. But let me do it. That commercial went everywhere in the world, and I made $350,000 for basically. I did a lot of different renditions, but all-star marketing. They tested it; it did very well. Tested it again, did really well. All-star came in, licensed it, and distributed it across the world.
Fantastic.
And that's what it takes to understand how to sell a product using a little bit of money to make a lot of money. Excuse me, but where's the beef, right? It's like a lot of patty, but no meat is what's happening, I think, in the startup culture. And if we can all come together and work and say, we have all this wisdom, right? It's like, we know membership programs like nobody's business, right?
Yeah.
I just got really hot.
I just pressed mute. I'm new to this game. It's all good.
So, what do what product was the one that surprised you the most, that made the most money for the littlest amount of money going in?
So I think it was one of my biggest hits actually, was Iron Gym, which was, so I specialized in fitness products. We did a lot of very much male fitness was coming through in, I think it was 2008, 2007, 2008. So Iron Gym was the pull-up bar that you use leverage. You just slip it on your door frame, so you don't have to screw it in, and you have to do pull-ups, right? So they showed me a prototype. It was pretty poor quality. I went up to New Jersey. Then we had some reformatting. We decided on the color scheme. I did a really low budget stills shoot. And we had to have like a fake wall built with a fake door. And then when it came to shoot the commercial, they were like, right, we really have a really tight budget. I couldn't even afford, the set budget was $2,000. So I couldn't build, so I had a studio, so I just built a platform, and we couldn't afford, a set budget didn't cover making a wall either side of the frame. So I just did an iron frame, like out of I-beams, and bolted some bolts in, kind of made it look rugged and masculine. And that was our set, a red platform with a door frame made of iron bars, I-beams. And that was it. So then the talent, I got my friends to do me some favors. The makeup artist. I used a friend. No, the best thing was this poor guy. I was doing a casting. It took me like 2 weeks. I was trying to find somebody super shredded that could do about 15 pull-ups and then do it again on a second take, and again and again and again. And my friend said, I know a guy with no, really low body fat. So I called this number and I told him, meet me in the FedEx parking lot. I'm going to drop a FedEx off in 20 minutes. I met him. He brought his girlfriend, and I said, okay, take your shirt off. The girlfriend nearly punched me. She was like, what? I said, no, take your shirt off. Let me have a look at you. Flex your muscles. All right, good. Come next Tuesday to this place. So it was really low budget. It was really, I pulled in a lot of favors. I paid this guy. He's just a guy from a gym off the street, wasn't even a paid talent. And we put the product together, and I believe that, I think it sold in the first year about 5 million units, up to 50 million units. I saw a thing in the clients, in their, they claim that they sell, when you get your royalty check, you sold this many and here's your royalties. And then you see a plaque saying 10 times the amount in their office, So again, we get paid what they decided, what I think the marketing companies felt we deserved, which was a hell of a lot more, because we're taking the risk. We were always taking the risk. We were happy to have the work, but it's like we're pulling in favors. You're busting your ass up the street, to just make something work.
Right. Well, we all shot, I'm sure you were out at Glendale Studios a lot.
Yes,
I'm sure Tara shot out there a lot.
Yeah.
And, but, I always said that there's like 12, it sounded always so conceited, but it's like 12 of us in the whole industry that we kind of, at a certain point, we knew how to make our clients money.
Yeah.
And especially like C-Spot Run, because I did all the campaign management. So I set up the fulfillment and the logistics and the telemarketing and managed, the campaign for my client. Yeah. So I insured myself
Yes.
as a producer, that my back end was in the safety zone, right? Because I knew
Yes.
how to manage all that from Slender Secret and 6-Day Bio Diet.
Yeah, we were a bit thick and green. So went with Tara, with my I was executive producer for her. The Ab Duo is another one that we shot for $52,000. We repaired an entire infomercial, shot in the gym where I was an instructor, used friends.
Yep.
And then the Ab Duo grossed $350 million
Yep.
worldwide. Remember that? And
I did.
And we, again, when our client at the time did a deal and sold a license, they forgot that they'd promised us a royalty, offered us a buyout of $1 million or 0.83%. And I said, well, if they're offering $1 million, we've already made a bloody million, so let's go for the 0.83, and ended up making $3.5 million from that one product, right? But for 52 grand, calling in favors.
Yep.
Cheap locations, but we because we didn't handle the project like you did, then we were really at the mercy, and you're just like so happy to get a bloody royalty check. It was quite rough. That's
kind of what happened. That's what happened with me with Side Sleeper Pro. And that because they went off and they handled everything. And then when they came back and they said, well, it didn't work, I said, well, show it to me. And then I made it work. And then, All Star licensed it. So they handled everything. But, I made a boatload of money over, the royalty was for 4 years. So for anybody listening, and if you're curious, in the infomercial world, which is actually everything today is direct response, everything today is direct to consumer. The infomercial world was the beginning of direct to consumer. And so, I started there in 1993. Annika, I think you came along.
I think I started about 1999. And then
I was going to say, I thought it was around 99.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why I always draw this comparison to tech startups and things like that is because tech startups, especially SaaSes, they're based on memberships. They're based on subscriptions. They're based on understanding the lifetime value of a customer, really understanding how their metrics, right? What is the number you need to meet for a lifetime value of a customer? So what is that number that you want? You got to always work backwards. Our metrics were so precise. This is how we knew that if we took 6, 7, 5, 8, 10, 20,000 most to test media, if something didn't work with $20,000, it's not going to work. And, and we cut and chase. We ran, right?
Yeah.
Even with 6,000.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And typically you wouldn't do that with a long form infomercial that was 28 minutes long, because those cost, I don't know, yours was a long form, so it was 52,000, but
I would charge like $250, $350 for a full show. And that was cheap. And that was, that was like a low budget. I mean, people were doing them for $150, but it was, not so slick production value. But I would spend money on the production value. But yeah, $250 kind of average for a low one.
Yeah, I fell in love with doing short form because short form for me, after I did the Red Skelton unreleased. So back in the day, I used to say I only sold to dead people. Or almost dead people. I sold dead people to almost dead people is what I would say, because I was really good at. I did Walter Cronkite, the whole Walter Cronkite tribute to his life a year after his death, and I did that short form that did really well for years because it was this really beautiful collection and narrated by Walter Cronkite. That's my favorite commercial I ever worked on, and then. What's the other? Oh, Red Skelton. So I did Red Skelton, who probably people listening, Lily probably knows, and I'm not sure. I don't have my glasses. Oh, Tyler, I don't know if you know Red Skelton is, but he's that old school comic. And so I did this beautiful long form, Annika, with Forbes Riley,
yes.
John O'Hurley, who had just won Dancing with the Stars, Phyllis Diller, Jane Meadows, Kip King, Chris Kattan's dad, who I actually had dated in my 20s. Who else? This other guy, Jill St. John, and Jamie Farr from MASH, because they all had been in Red's shows back in the day, right? And it was just this beautiful shot on a white cyc with the, you can see bits and pieces of it on my website, I'm sure. Done in 3 different, I did it like a variety show of the 60s. And so each, in between the CTAs, each segment, they would have new wardrobe. And we ended it with John O'Hurley, and John and Forbes would dance onto the set. And it was just fucking, it was gorgeous. And I think I shot that for a grand total of $180,000.
Wow.
And it was but here's the funny thing that happened. It was such a beautiful show. And it was I have to say this, I won a lot of awards for this thing, but it was so well, written and paced that no one thought it was an infomercial. So they didn't buy the product.
Gotcha.
They enjoyed the show.
The show, right.
So that was a problem because we had to pay quarterlies for Phyllis Diller, Jane Meadows. We had to pay quarterlies. It was a union show. The only time I did a union show because of those actors.
Yes.
And so I cut a short for him. I said, no problem. Let me cut a short for him. I'll cut all the shit out. I'll cut out what we can't use. And we'll just do a short for him. And we don't have to pay quarterlies. And we did. And I think that thing just exploded because the short form just worked really well. Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And that was the first show that we actually took an 800 number out of and only used a URL to drive to a website. Because I was a big proponent of that to save money on the old lady that calls in and spends 12 minutes talking to the guy and never orders, right? Which drives your cost per call up and all of that. And so I was always like, do you remember was it Steve Edelstein? Steve Edelstein? Who were the guys that were like the head of the intel and marketing? There was that bald guy. Remember that guy?
I do. They were all bald.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. They were like, I said, guys, look, I really want to take the 800 number out of the commercials because I think it's ridiculous. We should and it was just they were right because early on, it was like 1999, 2002. I was going, come on, can't we get rid of this 800 number?
Yeah, there was such pushback on putting a URL. I go, listen, I want to look at online and check stuff out. Like we're changing, the demographics changing, and how we're searching. We want to have a look a little bit closer, maybe make your mind up. But they were so insistent on no, we want instant calls. But I don't know.
We're going to lose that customer. Okay, yeah. So pulling it. I'm going to pull this all back, and I'm going to say, here's my beef. Okay, this is where's the beef? Tech versus creative. My company basically figured out how to take the creative. And all the way from concept, right? All the way through to the customer. And for 20-something years, I was very successful at doing that for many clients. None of them inventors, all of them big companies. My passion and purpose was to give back to the inventors, right? So that's what grew my integrity and became something that was a reason for larger companies to hire my company because I was, we all worked very hard in cleaning up the industry, right? Because it kind of was extremely slimy.
Yeah, very bad.
Probably the same thing goes on in the startup world. So let me circle this back around. The name, I said that I'm a founder, and let me say why I'm a founder, and then I'll tell you why Annika's a founder. I founded C-Spot Run in 1997 with $10,000 and just a vision. That's it. I had a borrowed $10,000 and I shut that LLC because it's ridiculous now to pay the tax in California just this year. And it was very cathartic for me to see where I opened it in 1997 at the state of California. And I closed it 20-something years later. I was very proud of myself, But the reality is that I see I see in the tech space that there can be the 90% failure rate, because 54% that will say that, well, we didn't know where to get our first dollar. We didn't know how to do our memberships. We didn't understand churn rate. We didn't understand attrition, how to run those metrics. We just waited too long. When it was time to bring in the revenue, we had already spent millions of dollars and they can't bring in the revenue. And then for me and you and people in our world, what the F is wrong with you? I mean, seriously. So it's this whole cultural thing of it's okay to fail, which it is. It's okay to fail, but don't go into something saying, it's okay, I'm going to fail.
Yeah, knowing it or anticipating it, right? I mean,
saying, fail fast. Okay, wait, I got to get in here. I have to iterate, test, do this. I get that. We did that too. And I know that it's a different time. Things evolve. But isn't there a middle? If people understood what we know and what we built in the direct-to-consumer space starting back in the late 80s and 90s, and everything that we did to create and grow membership agreements.
Yes. Yeah. Continuity programs, like everything. How to keep them engaged, like everything.
We would structure an entire infomercial around the fact that we just want to get, it's okay. Free shipping and handling. Do you know where that came from? Everybody listening? Not too many, but a lot of people will listen on the World Replay. Free shipping and handling came because we just want to get the customer.
Yeah.
Amazon comes along years later and basically Prime is free shipping, right? Yeah, they just want to get you as a customer because that's their bread and butter. That's where it is. But that's exactly what we always did.
What we did, yeah.
It's not what you sell them on the front end. It's what you sell them over and over and over and over again on the back end.
Yeah.
Like clockwork. Right? So that's the disconnection I see. I don't see that it's not, for me, I always want to talk about that because I believe there's so much wisdom out there that is not being tapped into in the direct to consumer space. There's so many people and startups failing. And if they only raised their hand, sat back and said, okay, I see you maybe are 60 years old, but I think I've got to listen to you because you got the key to the kingdom, And I really think that there's a solution out there. I do.
I think it's how to get, I guess, Wendy, it's like you've got so much wisdom. And I think hopefully on this platform that people listening, it's got to, I think there's such a prejudice, it's like, right, we're young and we're cool and we've got this startup and this is this and this. We know how to do it because we know everything, right? But it's like, how do you need to get in front of some of these, do more, I need to push you to do more presentations. I think you got to get in front of some of these tech companies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you just
know where I am.
Let's write your book. Just get your book written. Let's go.
This isn't really about me. This is just about.
But about any knowledge.
The culture. The culture is at 45 years old. You push the creatives out, right? All the tech startups are very young. They're young entrepreneurs. Founders. We call them founders. I'm a founder of a toilet stool company that actually basically sold $2.5 million worth of toilet stools because I didn't spend a penny on advertising. Yeah. Why? Because I kind of, I was Squatty Potty's consultant and first television producer. And we put that show on that short form, it's on my website, on the air in 2012. And it pulled a 4-to-1. MER, media efficiency ratio. For those listening, I think you call it an AOCS or what? I don't know. You call it some other acronym now, but it's a media efficiency ratio. A 4-to-1, Annika.
Yeah.
Short form.
Beautiful.
Everyone was like going crazy. Oh my God, this means if she's pulling a 4-to-1 in a short form in the first couple of weeks, do you know what this thing is going to do in rollout? Do you know what it's going to do? And it was the ugliest freaking toilet stool ever, but I created a short form commercial that was awesome. And it didn't really talk about, it was just awesome. It's on my website, wendycooper.com. C-Spot Run, letter C, spot.com. It's the only place you can probably see it. What did they do? What did they do? I told them never make a change without telling me first in your campaign management. Don't pull something. Don't do this. Don't change your price point. Don't do anything like that. It's called direct response for a reason. They decided one day that they didn't want to pay me my royalty. So Bobby Edwards literally called me. I was in Culver City. I can't make this up. And he said, "Hey, Wendy, how do we not pay you your royalty?" Seriously. I produced that commercial for $40,000 and I pulled in every favor I had on earth, right? I was known as the poop lady because of what I did for Dual Action Cleanse and all the money that I made for Dual Action Cleanse. And so people were coming to me. So QVC had referred them to me because they didn't want to touch that ugly thing. So in the long run, they just pulled the commercial off there, read your contract. But what really happened was they lied in their contract and then they had to buy me out because they overstated things. And it was an interesting, John Hendrickson was my attorney. Sorry for the airplane if you guys can hear that. But that was interesting. And so then this is kind of the dirtbag world that we actually come from. So, and as opposed to honoring the fact that I introduced them to the people at Target and I introduced them to the whole retail, downline, right? We're going to do the short form, drive it into retail and have a wall of Squatty Potties and Bed Bath & Beyond one day. So, and I did that. And then they pushed me out like that, took the commercial off the air. And 2 years later, they went on Shark Tank. Well, in that 2 years, they had taken away I didn't have the non-compete didn't exist because they fucked with me, right? And so we made sure that didn't exist. And I went off to make Easy Go Pro. Go Time just got easier. And right when I launched it, serendipitously, on Amazon, they went on Shark Tank. And they sold out. And I sold overnight. Seriously, I was the only other toilet stool. So I got all of Squatty Potty's Shark Tank sales because they didn't have the inventory that I told them they were going to need if they went on Shark Tank, but they didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
2 years later, I got all of their sales because they ran out of inventory. So my toilet stool in the first year it existed just rode off of all the Squatty Potty stuff. I didn't pay one penny.
Good lads.
So that's but that's what happens, right? So anyway, I am a founder of that. We've sold millions of dollars in toilet stools. And every time now, because of the pandemic, things have happened that are a little bit different. And I physically, this is what it takes to be an entrepreneur, people. I packed the box now. I took it out of, the 3PL because you can't afford this stuff. The shipping is too expensive. It's like, but every time I pack one, I say to myself, I'm changing this person's life. It is going to make them healthier. And it's $24.99 and it changes people's lives forever because there's no reason for it to ever break, and I feel really good about that. And that's how I've always lived my, I walk the talk, right?
Yeah.
I walk the talk.
Yeah.
And you walk the talk.
Yeah, I never wanted to do a product that didn't work. I would never do a fitness product that I tried to. I actually talked a couple of inventors out, and they used to get very angry because you're attacking. I would just say, look, I'm sorry, this is not a product for TV. The funniest one, which is now in retail, is one of the camping. Right, I'm an expert camper now, having driven across the country in 4.5 months. Is the female urination thing. It's like an origami. It's like an origami penis for a woman to go to the toilet while she's camping, right? It's like a flow tube. And I remember saying to the guy, he showed Tara and I said, I think it's brilliant, great idea, fantastic, but it's not really a TV product. And he was like, what? What do you mean? I go,
we told that guy that a million times at the stupid Inventor showcase.
I'm like, I can't, I'm not going to, how do you shoot that? Like, I just said, I'm really sorry. I'll have to do some kind of cartoony, scribble thing. I don't know. And but he got really sanctimonious and got very angry. And,
of course they did, because it's their baby.
Yeah, but also our time was precious as well, right? If we're shooting all of these things on low budget to participate in the back end with the promise of big bucks, then we had to also, you had to.
You guys should have talked to me, because that was like, my husband always kind of wanted me to do more spec stuff like that, right? Shoot cheap, get big back end, do a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I said, no, my reputation is basically built on concept all the way through. So people come to me and they have a concept, and I help them source their product, package their product, do it the right way, figure out the packaging for delivery, what it's going to cost, how do you do your metrics, do you really have something that actually will work on television, what is the MER that we have to pull in, all the way through to scripting their telemarketing, which they call conversation design now in voice.
That's great.
Scripting their telemarketing, creating their offers. My point is, this is startup mentality. This is entrepreneurial mentality, where we kind of, someone had said to me, that was on my show a couple of weeks ago, Jonathan Sackett, he said, Wendy, you guys, you knew the questions to ask. You knew what to do. People just don't know what to do. And then that's when, I hate to use the expression, the sharks come in.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, oh
and they
boy.
swarm. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's funny they called the show Shark Tank. It's kind of interesting. And some of those sharks were indeed sharks.
So just letting everyone in the audience know, and because I'm just going to be very forthright, Kevin Harrington is a very good friend of mine and Annika's. We have known Kevin Harrington, the original shark, for
since I was in the industry in 99. Yeah,
exactly, at least, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting how we find it fascinating. Although we love Kev as, let's go to his house and have dinner, but we don't go to Kevin's house and do business. And it's really interesting to watch. To watch the things evolve into, I don't even know where to go with that. I just want people to always, we were talking about the sharks. The shark thing is so weird, because it's like that. Why would you even call sharks to us are people who go and screw you?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, and that's indeed what happens the minute you come out with anything that shows any form of success. Boom! Then
they copy it.
The sharks come out, and it's the same product in a different color with a very similar name, and there's 4 versions of them immediately available and ready. They scramble to the factories.
Yeah.
Because the inventors have enough to, even the poor inventors that used to come that had the money or borrowed money from family to pay for the shoot. And they come and they go, can you help us? And we can pay for a test. And more often than not, they wouldn't be able to afford a shoot, a test. And that's why they would end up going to these large marketing firms and signing their life away. And then they would just knock them off anyway, the original.
Or not pay them the royalty, or the inventor. So when I did all of my inventor stuff in the product showcase, the genesis in 1999 was because I was teaching at the Learning Annex. I was teaching how to bring your product to market, right? The Learning Annex, and then then we had to have something to take to Washington D.C. to clean up our reputation. And I had experienced a really, really weird like a Shark Tank thing. I think it was like at one of our trade shows in Las Vegas. And I walked in, and Sue Delaney had put these people together, and you were going to win a $5,000 media test from Mercury Media if you got first place. There was basketball net that had to probably be shipped in on a 747. it was so big, you could never put it in a box and ship it anywhere to a customer.
Oh my gosh.
And so all of these products that came in, they were never vetted for television.
Right.
Now, do they fit in a box? Is it something at a price point? Is it a low cost of goods? All of that stuff. I sat there and I watched it all happen. And this one gal gets up. She is the most beautiful Hawaiian girl you have ever seen. And she has gigantic bosoms. She puts her very phallic-y looking item that has 4 sticks. It's like a gigantic, it was a tree trunk, but it looked like a dildo. Okay. And it was like 2 handfuls around, right? So it was really large. And if she puts it down, it has like, she puts these sticks, 4 sticks in the top of it. And off of these sticks have these like fake little leaves hanging down, like a eucalyptus leaf, right? I'd like to draw your attention, ladies and gentlemen, to the video to your left. And she plays a video, and it is the no-fly zone. As you're having a barbecue outside, you just put this big, giant brown dildo in the middle of your table, and the sticks twirl around, and the little leaves that fall down, they kind of keep the flies off of your food.
Oh.
So that's why it's called the no-fly zone.
Oh gosh. Wow. At least it's a party starter. It's a conversation starter.
She won.
Right? Oh, what?
And that's when I raised my hand to Sue Delaney to the trade association, and I said, "Okay, there is something seriously wrong with what's happening."
I think that's when I got out of the industry. I must have quit by then.
No. This is before I did the product showcase. This is the reason I did the Inventors thing.
Yeah, you had to do that. Right? Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. So I actually flew to Hawaii and I told her she did not have a product for television. And that spawned a whole big thing. And then ERA and I started to work together on the product showcase, where then HSN and Billy and Sully and everybody, we all protected the inventors and did everything that we did for all those years. So, and then Shark Tank came along way after that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Totally was the same bloody thing, just for TV. And exactly the same.
We protected the inventors a little bit more.
Yeah, I would say.
We protected them from those people that you were talking about, that, they would present. I would teach educational seminars around the country, how to make a deal, how to do a back end deal, how to do your manufacturing. Do you qualify for direct response television? If you do you have a patent? Are you protected? We had best practices. And so Shop NBC, QVC, HSN, everybody was on board. Everybody sponsored it. It became really wonderful because we protected the inventor. So we put the inventor in our trade show in Las Vegas, and we didn't let the sharks in. Couldn't come in unless you were, vetted. And the products that were there, the inventors were taught the right questions to ask and how to make the right deal and what to look out for. And that was my claim to, my giving back in the world. So, and then Shark Tank came along.
Yeah. So AJ something, I actually served on, so he was doing some rounds as like an infomercial school at one point. I was in Miami. I was on a board that was meeting with inventors. Inventors were invited in to present the product,
because I wouldn't, Annika, I have to tell you this. I know I'm getting off track, but AJ was the one who, AJ and Earl, when I was raising money, they were the 2 people who would not support me with the inventors, would not support me. And then I went on to make that a big success, and he went on to do his little inventor thing.
Yes.
Years later, and to be, go on, Good Morning America. And oh my God.
Yeah.
Right?
Everything that you created. But they were the kind of mafia of the industry.
Definitely the mafia. Annika, thank you for jumping on. You are just over there in the other bedroom. But and I am going to make us an awesome pasta tonight.
Good luck.
It's so funny that you guys, last night, my home has an oven that you cannot freaking cook anything in. You just can't. It's new and it has no temperature gauge. So you always have to guess. So last night I took out a roast that I had gotten from a startup company, by the way, that hired me and screwed the living careebies out of me because they didn't understand that they had they were going for a membership. Like, it's organic meat company. a startup that basically says, okay, we're going to save the world and we're going to go reach out to all the farmers of America, all the ranchers and the farmers, and we're going to save the world's problems by bringing this meat direct. Like nobody's doing that already. But anyway, and Wendy, we've made so many mistakes. And I heard you speak on Clubhouse and you are our savior. Can you come up here to Santa Maria, to the ranch, hang out, and let's talk about you coming on board. I did my due diligence. The website actually looked like, okay, this is kind of a cool company, whatever. They sent me the budgets to approve. Okay, you're our new CMO. Here's an offer. Didn't agree with the offer. It was really kind of weird. But just get us through this radio campaign that we want to do for Memorial Day weekend. So let's just get this radio commercial produced. Chef can come to your house and we can, blah, blah, your studio, blah, blah. And I go, okay. And I did a great strategy or tactic on a membership. Because they want members, right? So I said, okay, well, you can keep your high-end organic meat site, but let's create one over here for the people who don't want to buy into a subscription, people who only want to people who can't afford all of this fancy high-end organic pasture-raised and finished meat. Well, let's create a competitive site for your own product thing. So I did the commercial, I did the website, I put it on Sirius Radio.
You deserve better meat. G'day folks, Chef Andre here. I am the most fussy on planet Earth and I love this Memorial Day. Give the kids the best, healthiest burger. No GMOs, no antibiotics, pasture-raised and finished, excellent nutrients. This is real food from real farms and simply put, nothing tastes as good.
It's time to grab Chef Andre's deals. Now more than 50% off select boxes only at buybettermeat.com. And there's no subscription necessary. These deals are going fast.
2 days after we had it on air, they pulled the media. I lost face with my media company, my radio media company at Sirius. And they never, there's a startup company, guys, up in Silicon Valley. The guy that runs it is a financial manager for wealthy people. And he convinced me I was their new CMO and never heard from them again. Not one word. I killed myself to do what I did for them. And then they left me, they literally stuck me with the shipping and handling for the orders that came in through the website that I created for them. So that's why I say, where's the frickin' beef?
And that's why I got out to the industry.
Oh my God.
And became a healer.
Listen to me. I will make you so much money if you just listen to how you do a membership, the membership subscription thing, right? You got to get them in. That's what happened there. And I don't really care. Annika, thank you. Thank you so much for being my spontaneous guest tonight.
Thanks, love.
I really enjoy being here on Fireside and being able to share my wisdom and bring people like Annika Kielland on, who is such a remarkable and talented and wonderful person in so many different ways. So I just want to wish everyone well. And Annika, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap, everyone. That is the edited edition of Where's the Beef? Tech versus Creative. Yes, it is recorded live on Fireside in front of a live studio audience. But this is the edited version. So if you want to listen to that replay and hear it in its entirety, once again, like I said at the top of the show, it is there. Listen, everything I say in my podcasts are my responsibility. And anything and everything I say with full integrity and full honesty. And if you don't like it, call me. Check out my website, wendycooper.com, the letter C, spotrun.com. And you can also go there. It's all one-stop shop. And if you go to the portfolio, I think you're probably going to find out who that meat company is. So you don't necessarily need to give them your business, now do you? But I'm not going to tell you that here on this podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I am your host, Wendy Cooper. Music is by Tom Orsi of Orsi Digital Post. This has been a C-Spot Run production. All rights reserved.